Hello and welcome to CEOs Get Real. I'm your host, Christopher Marston with Exemplar Companies. And today we have Amir Magal, the CEO of Tribal Markers. Welcome to the show, buddy.
Thanks, man.
It's so good to see you.
Yeah, it's great to be here.
All right, we're gonna do the fist bump, the COVID fist bump. Yes. We're in a special time, aren't we?
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, it's really good to have you. So real quick, Tribal Markers, you came to a party is how I met you. Right. And then I've met you through the universe of other connections of ours. You just don't go away, which means you're doing something right. So can you describe this business? I remember being absolutely beautifully marked up by some lovely ladies that were drawing on me, and that you've managed to turn into a successful business.
Right. So as a business, this has been an experiment. This has been this ride of a Burning Man gift years ago as something I offered as a gift. And then it turned into something that I saw how special it was for people. And they're like, this is something I want more of. And it gave me an idea to turn this into something, a passion of my own, to paint, to create, to connect with people, and find ways to turn it into a business. So that's where the story begins, how to get it there into a marker and into a...
So let's talk about what is it? For those who don't know, they have no idea. You're drawing up people's bodies, right?
Yeah. So in simple, Tribal Markers is a tool, a marker, that I developed, but it's used for the body. It's used on skin. And basically, it's to connect to people. It's used to connect to people. And it's a fun way to bring community together, events together, and a great way to just remember, like, I see you, may I hold you, and this time in COVID, it doesn't even exist anymore, it feels like.
Right.
So you can say pre-COVID, this was booming, and now during COVID, I'm finding new ways to make this work. Yeah.
Fascinating. But it's not just anything, you're not drawing cartoons and stuff.
Well, so
it is Tribal Marker, so give me the tribal part.
For sure. So tribal, I was born in Israel, and so...
Mazel tov.
Thank you. And my mother's a rabbi, and I was raised in LA, but in the Jewish community, and I was raised learning Hebrew. And
wow. So real Jewish, not Jewish.
Yeah, Jew.
Yeah, exactly.
And but with that Israeli and with the letters, with the Hebrew, with Kabbalah infused into my upbringing in Shabbat, and so it was something that it was always with me, but never practiced really. As an artist, as a photographer, as a designer in LA, it's not like I'm out there writing Hebrew, and practicing it. So this reminded me, like, well, what symbols do I have to offer? What has more meaning? What has more connectivity for myself? And then also it means more to give it to somebody. Yeah. And the Hebrew letters was what I started with. And for me, that resonated. So that's what the symbols that I go to when I paint on people, inspired by the Hebrew, kind of that style, that old school, ancient lettering.
I can see that now. I remember from years back, and now because I had to learn Hebrew in Hebrew school, and I remember, just the characters, and I just never even thought about that. Because when you say tribal, does it mean something specific then? And so, I never really related to there was a word member of the tribe, MOT,
right? Yeah,
and I never thought of tribal in that way. But
it's interesting because in the business, in the way we talk about it. One of the things that connects everybody is, in a way, we all come from some sort of tribe. If it's our family, if it's our community, if it's our religion, if it's our soccer team, whatever it is, we have something that in groups that we come from, even way back when. So it felt right, because when I painted people, the look already just looked, oh, that looks tribal. What is that? Now that I've done it over 10 years ago, I've seen how that word tribal can raise question, like, oh, that's Native American. I'm like, wait, what? The tribe, only Native Americans had tribes? Tribe is deep within all cultures. And this is something that I get I just went to Ethiopia, actually a year and a half, 2 years ago, where I got to go to my inspiration with this Ethiopian village, the Hammer tribe in the Omo Valley, and got to see how they take ochre and just paint their bodies and ceremonially decorate themselves. So I was really interested in that kind of tribal aspect of, the old school ancient tribe, and then our tribes, and how can we bring that ancient way into this modern time on events and gatherings and bring that kind of sense of unity with art, with my Hebrew lettering symbology, and then just this simple feeling of, hey, welcome to this tribe. We're going to mark you and initiate you. So that's something about it.
So before you started this business, you had to be creative, right? So you were a photographer, right?
I was doodling all the time.
Designer.
I was shooting. But as a career, it was photography, illustration, logo design, graphic design, web building, and it was in the beginning of the web. It was the beginning of before Google, before YouTube. I was uploading videos. I was one of the first to upload videos to YouTube. I actually got them on the phone asking like, how long? It's taken a long time for my videos to upload. They're like, no, we love your videos. Keep sending them. It was that time before it was anything. If I kept up, that would have been amazing, but I didn't. Like I turned into more of an artist. I saw how much time had been taken away from the computer and years and years of just being in the computer, pushing pixels constantly, and then when I started marking people, I realized like, whoa, this is fun. I can just meet people and instantly feel a connection. And then when I'm done, and they go off and they look beautiful. And
so do you feel like the digital age has created like a crisis of intimacy?
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Like the human connection.
For sure, and with all the apps of connection, with all the swiping and everything, like, it's almost like you want more of it to get it, but you'll never get it. You'll never go through that digital world and find this, and find the touch, and find a breath with someone. And thankfully, I found it at that time because I was really turning into a photographer and shooting magazines and everything. But I knew there was a window, a box in front of me that once I removed, I'm like, what can I do now? And then it was, I can just, create something with you, and then it's done. And I said, how do I work with this? What's my business around this? How can I survive doing this? And this evolved. Tribal Markers became.
So was the first time you were marking people at a routine basis, was it a Burning Man?
Yeah, Burning Man was my gift.
And so it was your gift. And so for all those who don't know, Burning Man, it's a gift economy. You're not like buying stuff except maybe coffee and ice at Arctica. Right. You're pretty much trading for your needs, and you're giving your gifts.
Yeah.
And so you marked people up. So what was your experience there that you said you had an enlightenment moment, perhaps before you realized it could be a business, but that moment where you realized it was significant enough, the combination of human touch, the symbolism, the connection, the human connection and grounding, that you wanted to do more of that. You craved that over digital.
It was completely visceral. It was completely hands-on. Like there was nothing digital about it. It was completely analog. It was all about, I know this. My body knows this. This person wants this, is craving this moment. I could do this. And I studied martial arts and massage therapy growing up too. So it almost brought all that with it too, not just the arts. So I could do a mini ceremony and a massage and almost like a warrior grounding exercise, and then let's start what's your movement go. And I got to do that with other artists and musicians and actors before they went into their performance. So that was in the height of Tribal Markers artistry, when I was backstage with Nako and with Jason Mraz and with a bunch of artists before they went on stage, and I would be like their hype man, painting them up, and then just kind of tuning into them, grounding them down, and go on stage, do your thing. So there was that sense of this is my offering, big time. Outside of Burning Man, this was something I could offer. How do I do this to the rest of the world? How can I become that? And I needed a tool to support me to do that. So that's where the shift happened from me being the artist to I have a tool I can create and then train people how to use it. And then there's an ethos of the company. Talk about what I'm talking to you about with the connection. And with that, I was able to go on tour with Wanderlust, which is a yoga festival.
Yeah.
And then train all over the country. And then it kind of grew that way. And so now it's in this new phase of, where is the business? How can I grow this business and still remain, an artist in my own right, but also have the business entity evolve?
But when I met you 3 years ago, it was a business then.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you came and you had team, you had a whole staff.
Oh yeah, I trained all my team.
Right.
They go to trainings every couple months, and we train each other, and not just on the skill, but how to connect to somebody, how to hold space, how not to paint if you're not feeling good, because you're giving each other that kind of energy.
Energetic exchange.
Yeah, so that's important. My team reflects this art form. and I want to make sure it's beautiful. And you've met some of them.
Yeah.
They're all super special.
Absolutely special people. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, so obviously you knew. When did you know it was going to be a business, or it could be a business?
In the beginning, when I was painting people and I saw the lines start forming, and I'm just at a party painting for fun, and literally a line would form, and I would take so much time with each person. I'm like, how am I going to do this? And it really happened when I was booked to do, I think it was Coachella, and then another festival at the same time, and I was the only one at that time who could do it. So I trained a friend, who's this big Goliath of a homie friend who was just, I don't know if you know John Nash, good friend of mine, but taught him like how to do the symbols, how to learn the markings, and that was like, click. I got to teach more people. I need more people to go out and get booked and create this energy with people. So that's kind of the beginnings when I knew it was overwhelming need.
So when you trained them, did you train them for free because they were working for you? Because they were working for you to do the gigs, right? So you train more and more people to adapt your staff to the demand. So it was organic. So you were just watching demand at an event and saying, "Here's a line. Here's demand. I need more supply, and there's only one of me, so I got to train it." And
definitely,
you turned it into a business.
Yeah, sometimes it was like the night before a big event. I'm like, all right, all my friends, let's go. We get in a circle, but I really laid down the basics of it. So for this business, it's a tool of connection. So as long as you have that connection piece, even if the symbols and the lines are wiggly or this, if that person can, hold space really well, take a moment and feel that other person, it works. It works, and they can draw simple lines, and then all of those people are still around. For that first group who I trained, they're still fully involved.
So how do you explain to people that there's a value in human connection, but you're tapping it? It isn't just about the markers. It isn't about the perfection of a symbol, but you're tapping into something here where there's value in human connection.
Huge.
And these are strangers. We're talking about people who don't know anybody from Adam, right? They walk up and you're connecting with a complete stranger at an intimate level that's different. And has that? What are the ways that the people who have done this and received describe that transformation or change, or what that meant to them?
I mean, there's so many stories. Over the years, when I was painting more and more, it was anywhere from children, parents and kids, people, amputees, people with burn victims, scarifications, and finding the beauty in each one of them and having that moment to reflect their beauty and say, "You are beautiful, let me add to it," and then take a second to maybe read the letters or the symbols that we did. And it's almost like a new way of bridging henna and tarot and massage and all of these in one. And it brought this authenticity to a random gathering or an event. Like we'll do a Google party, but have us there, and all the artists are like, "Oh, this is real," and it changes the dynamic of a moment in a crowd. That's for sure.
It sure does. It sure does. So going back in history to think about what makes you you and how you got here, did you grow up in the U.S.?
I did. I was born in Israel.
Okay.
In Jerusalem. And then raised
Jerusalem.
in Yerushalayim.
Right in there.
Yep. And to a kibbutznik father and a soon-to-be rabbi mother.
Is she in Israel or here?
Here.
Okay,
yeah, she's in Sedona now, rabbi of Sedona.
Wow.
And so I was raised, I wouldn't say religious, or it was very artistic. And but I came from a public school where I knew there was a lot of art in me, but it wasn't being used. And I was able to get a scholarship to go to a Waldorf school. And in Waldorf school, I flourished. Oh, wow. And I was able to use my skill and make books and learn hands-on. And so that was really special. And then went to UC Santa Cruz and studied martial arts and capoeira and art. I was doing a lot of cartooning and designing and learning. That's when basically is the beginning of what we have today as far as the web, and that was my passion. It was art, design, and somehow connection involving that. Not sure what I was doing. So now this brought all of it together.
It sure did.
Yeah.
It sure did. But it wasn't a continuous line or a straight line, was it?
No, it couldn't be.
It never is it?
Right?
You had a stint in the entertainment business, didn't you?
I did. I grew up, my dad was a sound mixer in the entertainment business in Hollywood. So I was raised basically on set.
Yeah.
So meeting all the celebrities, but basically holding a boom over there.
Roasting a hot dog up there, right?
You know, like boom shadows. But getting to meet people, getting to be in the hot seat, seeing what that it looks like, and but how the team works. And I was on the road to becoming a cinematographer and being a DP, director of photographer, and that was a passion of mine until I saw how much. First, it cost.
Yeah.
Second, you know, the amount of training and tools you needed. So I went to the photography realm, which was basically me and the model, or me and a lighting. And so that really helped me to craft the visual of what I loved. And traveled the world. I was shooting, getting paid to do what I loved. And each part was, I never knew would be where I'm at now, because Tribal Markers actually was only an addition to my photography in the beginning. I had a whole portrait studio, painting each person, taking shots, and then making magazine covers and things. And now I let go of some of the photography in a way, even though I have it in my back pocket, got all the gear.
Well, it's always a skill.
Yeah.
It's always there.
Yeah.
It's in you. But as far as professional opportunities, Tribal Markets is your thing.
Now it is, and it's a trip to think. This is where I'm at now.
Yeah.
You know, I truly thought I'd be a big photographer or a cinematographer, and now this has humbled me so much. Not just, you know, from shooting people, getting paid, then leaving, getting a check, and then this turns me into a one-on-one situation. As a business owner is one thing, but as an artist and a business owner, as the founder and CEO of a company that can connect to at this point, at least, you know, I've touched personally tens of thousands of people one-on-one, you know, painting them from all over the world.
It's like a, you know, Mother Teresa kind of thing, right?
You know, but through, you know, they say, like, how do you make your mark in the world? You know, this is also something to say, like, well, with each mark, you make that connection. That's like a seed that's planted. So that's something when I train people in the markings, like when you paint someone, make sure it comes from a good place. You know, don't draw mustaches or, you know, something on their face, but if you do it with beauty and with grace. But the business aspect has been this beautiful learning process. Because think about it, as an experiment, as an artist painting, and then saying, okay, well, now I'm going to make a product.
Yeah.
You know, now I have the product, how am I going to get it out there and how the market, and all these things have been learned from scratch. No training.
That's right. Yeah. That's right. Well, how did you get over the perhaps, there's a saying, all that glitters is not gold, and you grew up around entertainment industry and famous people. So how do you get from there to an incredibly personal and artistic business and not get caught up in what the promises of Hollywood had to offer? Particularly, it was an exciting time in the 90s. And
That's a great question. I didn't think about it that way before. It must be the people I was around and the types of projects, and it was in the beginning of like the conscious world of yoga, and I saw how I could have gone that direction, but I knew I never felt satisfied. And I saw the height of what is possible as far as the movie industry and the success. And I saw them all in that. And, you know, it didn't really hit me. Nature hit me, tribal mentality, not saying like tribal, like warriors or something, but more of sense of community. That really affected me because my father's from a kibbutz. I got to go live on a kibbutz for 9 months and, you know, milk cows and then, you know, work and do all these things, but it showed me what's possible.
So for those who don't understand what a kibbutz
is,
it's like an Amish community. I mean, how do you best?
All kibbutz seem more different,
way?
but
right.
I mean, the quick past is it was needed in Israel when the country was established to build these communities that were self-sufficient. The government did support it in a way, but the community members created some sort of business or some sort of entity, usually mostly agriculture, that supported the whole community and paid for everything.
Like a cooperative.
Basically, it's all cooperative. Everything's voted on, and no one made more than anyone else. And depending on how big your family was, that's how big your house was. And this kibbutz specifically, it's called Ma'agan Michael, it's where my father's from, is to me like paradise on earth. It's on the beach, everyone's walking around barefoot, and They have fish ponds that once they have too many homes, they just drain a fish pond and they have beachfront property. So it was really interesting the way they worked out. But they have a beautiful business that allowed them to be one of the richest kibbutzim in Israel. And it's like a plastics factory of agricultural plastics that they all work at, or they work at all the other things like the cows or the chickens or this, but that was like the main staple. And that provided a whole community to live in surplus and have anything they wanted, but they share everything. So that was really interesting to me, coming from a capitalistic, place and seeing, well, where do I want to be?
Yeah.
And living in it brought me so much joy and so much a humbling of, well, I don't need the best of everything. Like if we all share something, it works. I could see the issues too, but it sparked something in me to want that for my life. Yeah. And redo it in a way that feels good as an artist and as a community lover and as someone who loves nature. So
yeah. So when you decide, thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, you got it.
When connecting it back to the business,
sure.
You went to something so incredibly from scalable. Granted, photography is art too, and it's often one-on-one. To something that's one-on-one, touching, drawing. It's intense. Yeah. So when you think about business, a lot of people think about scalability and exits. Right. Yeah. Did you struggle at some point with scalability?
I still do. Yeah. I still do, because there's a part of this process where you might think I just buy them and sell them. Okay, so on like the basic level, when I started doing this, each one was handmade. Each marker, hand-filled.
Oh, really?
Each one's hand-cut. To this day, there's a line of the marker, the original marker, that's still done that way. So I still have people come over and help me cut and fill and do all that. So scalability, that is crazy. But then I thought about it as like an artisan. Each piece is a work of art in a way, and it keeps that connection throughout the whole process. Mm-hmm. So every single marker has been touched. Every single marker has been kind of loved on before it goes out. And
there's a saying, there's a book about Starbucks called Pour Your Heart Into It.
It is.
Right? And that was back when, obviously they were selling coffees for, 3 to 5 times what anybody was buying coffee for at the beginning of that company. But that's because of the love and time and attention and care put into it. Obviously, it's scaled now, and a lot of that's been depersonalized.
Sure. Yeah. I've had my chances. People have asked for it, to buy it, asked to know all about it so that they can take it. So it's been a wild road. And we were almost at a place where I was going to. And I really felt strongly that I should just hold on to this and continue this process, no matter how hard it is. It never has been. It's given me its purpose. It's given me something to do with all this creative energy to put into it. And, I really am all the different aspects of the business.
So I was going to ask you about that. When it comes to scalability and infusing, oftentimes a founder, your fingerprints are all over the business, right?
Literally, yeah.
And we all often talk about living your purpose too. Yeah. And so purpose is sort of bringing the culmination of everything that makes you together, and where you feel like you're not working every day. It doesn't feel like work. You're living your passion. Yeah. And how do you bring that and scale that down through your team and bring that same meaning to people around it who are delivering to bring the scalability to the business?
Well, because this is such a specific niche of a business, the type of people that have been drawn to this, want to work with me, are the artist types. They're not the business types. Yeah. So they get the cream of, they get to do the best stuff, which is the painting part. Yeah. So I train them, they learn how to paint, they come to the gigs, and they paint people and they get paid. It's just beautiful. But no one knows all the stuff I have to deal with as a business owner. Yeah, and I've actually had to let my team go before COVID. So I'm back to doing it all on my own again. And this has been really difficult, but also I'm kind of taking back all the fluff that I didn't need to do.
Of course.
And just really hone in and I reinvested in my business during COVID. And it was a big process to what do I do now? But it's cleaning up. It's cutting the fat and also knowing what I can do and not having to make every single one by hand. The new markers, I don't need to do that.
So you've taken the time where there's sort of a lot of space, extra space and time with COVID, which has created the space for you. You've clearly turned that into a positive. So tell me about how having that space helped you reflect and make improvements to the business.
So not many people know this, but literally during COVID, I was running out of product. I literally was down to my last couple boxes of empty things, and I had to make a decision. Okay, in this space, should I just let's say this is a a sign. Let go. You've done your job. You've completed an experiment of building a company out of an artist's idea, and I said, no, I think it's time to up the ante a little bit. And this space brought me to reflect on, well, what works, what doesn't work, how can I make things run more smoothly, what are the bottlenecks, all these things. And so I learned what to do, and within a couple months was able to create a new product, a couple new products that were just much easier to receive and share to the world and have bigger profit margins. Yeah, all that. More scalable. Literally, it got to be more scalable with less work.
That's brilliant. Yeah. So what would that, there was a moment it clicked for you. Was it a gut check? Was it a download? Was it a higher power? Or was it what was it?
I was thinking, what else am I going to do? Go back to being the photographer in the midst of Instagrammers where everyone's a photographer and where's my profession right now? And I thought about all the people I connected with. I'm like, I don't want to let everyone down in a way. There's this product that the world heard about, maybe not everybody, a couple of people in the world have heard about it, but they haven't had a chance to experience it yet. It's my duty in a way to share it. And with that, I get to share a message. I get to share this kibbutz idea and all these things. How can I can fund that whole idea? So in a way, this would fund this dream of raising my family, this new family that I'm creating with these artistic types, but make sure the business can run itself and run beautifully. So that's what I'm hoping for.
So why were you running out of product, out of curiosity?
Well, minimums, I bought a certain amount. I think it was 5 years ago, and I ran out. I never upgraded.
So you ordered a huge quantity to get the...
Yeah, the first one going. I thought, I'll see if I can make a business.
10,000 or whatever. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it was I think it was 24,000.
No kidding.
My first order.
Wow.
And I was down to my last couple hundred markers left, and it was just the casings. I get to paint somewhere else.
So it just so happens that just at the right time COVID hit, you were down to your last, and then you really had a choice to make. It wasn't just COVID that forced the choice.
I really needed to make a choice no matter what, but that gave me space to say, why is this happening to me now? Should I stop it all? Yeah. And no, I decided to up it up and do it right. And
well, the reason you're here is not just because it's a business, but because you decided to scale it, to grow it. Yeah. And what do you hope it to be? Is it about the destination? Is it about the journey?
I had someone ask me if I had a sales strategy, and I didn't think about that before. Am I going to sell my business? No, this is my project. This is my baby in a way. But if I could come up with this vision for let's say this company, it would be that it allows people who aren't artists to experiment with a new tool that could create something new in their life, like this new tool that could bridge something that they maybe thought they could have been. It's an easy way to access their inner artist. And that's kind of the principle that I want to instill in people. Don't worry, you don't have to be perfect at it. Go for it. And it's a way to bond and connect to people. So is there more of that question I can dive deeper in? Because I know there's more to it.
Well, sometimes a lot of people think about a CEO of a company as focused on
the end
scaling and exiting.
Yeah.
And that isn't a lot of people's. Some people it is the journey. The
journey is all destination. Totally, it's all journey. It's literally, I'm honest, it's an experiment. This has all been an experiment and to learn as I go. I never studied business. I never understood business. Yeah. It's been a fear of mine, how do I make money? What can I do that can, and this has been such a learning experience for me.
So I know, because we were talking about this, we've even sort of touched on it a long time ago. I think I even met with you years back and talked about it. Is there a point at which you sort of had to get out of your own way, or
still trying?
Yeah, well, it's an evolution.
There was.
Trying to there's psychological barriers when the business stuff can be more intimidating.
Yeah.
And when you're realizing that in order to get to the next level, you've got to face it, and then but choose not to fear it.
The first part of that was as the artist, the egoic artist, thinking this is mine, I can only do this, was where to me, letting go of that was huge. Yeah, giving literally the tool off to someone, say, okay, you'll go do what I did as an experience. And once they did that, once I saw people actually get better than me and learn this tool and take it to another level, I inspired me like, wait a second, zip it up, watch and learn. Because then I could do, in a way, less be the man in the front showing how to do it. Just watch and see other people rise up and support them in that. That changed the whole dynamic of how this can scale. Yeah. If I can teach a team or hundreds of thousands of people online, let's say, or the people who are better than me now can teach people, it changes the whole dynamic. So I'm excited for that to happen.
That's great. You have people that are better than you now.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah. That's great to hear.
Yeah, skill-wise. And that's it. But no one can replace how it started, can replace the founder. But even then, I'd be happy that someone comes in and do the day-to-day for me,
That's great to hear. So what are your biggest inspirations in life?
Biggest inspirations in life?
Yeah, do you have like a mentor? Do you have a North Star, a principle?
I would say the connection with my father has been really powerful for me. I work with children now because of it. He was a beautiful, simple man who was just loving and present in my childhood. And because of that, there's this underlying, like, you got this, you'll be fine. And then usually I hear, you're not doing enough, I've learned a lot of men especially say, like, you're not doing enough because you're trying to please your dad or something. Where I'm at is, I feel like it's not about pleasing him, it's living up to that sweetness, that living up to that gentle giant. There's something in that. And so for each person I meet, there's that tweaking, like, I'd love to continue that in the journey ahead. So, yeah, I mean,
that's beautiful. So he was a present father.
Very much, yeah.
Yeah, it's great to hear what that meant to you. Personally, right?
Yeah, I never really thought about it from that perspective. Yeah. Same with my mom. I mean, she was there, and she was the creative one in my family too. My sister. I mean, thankfully there was a good family, solid family upbringing. Yeah. It was more the challenge with like learning disabilities.
Are they both in Israel?
No. They grew up. My father Israeli. My mother's she's in Sedona now.
Okay, got it.
But yeah, I think the challenge was thinking I couldn't do something, thinking I was stupid, thinking I couldn't understand things as a kid, and then so specifically when business stuff comes up, like I can't do this because I don't know how to.
Well, so you touched on learning disabilities and didn't fill in the blanks there.
Right.
But when you were growing up, which was probably not too long after I was growing up, probably, it was a long time ago, so they didn't have as much, understanding of this stuff. Like, what was it?
I mean, for sure, ADD and dyslexia and, all these things that they put me in these boxes.
Yeah.
And I was lucky enough to, find a way around it, I guess, by having another school. I got scholarship to go to a Waldorf school that saw how to work with the child in the stage they're at. And so that helped a lot. But before that, it was tough. I mean, kids hate school anyway, usually.
Right. But
it was just confusing. It was a really confusing time for me to understand how to read, literally.
But would you say the ability to have a support system like a Waldorf school changed your life or the trajectory of your life?
I would 100% say so. Yeah. Having that ability for someone to say, this would be good for you, and then my parents say, okay, let's figure out how. They got me into that school, and big up Highland Hall, thanks. And it was a trajectory. I was from the bottom of my class in public school to one of the top of my class in the Highland Hall and Waldorf school.
Wow.
And it basically brought to me who I am in a way. I mean, then I got to go to UC Santa Cruz in college or, oral reviews, and it was more hands-on. And I just knew that was something I needed in life. I wasn't the heady computer guy that needed to code. That wasn't me. I was the graphic guy make things look beautiful. And then when I saw how we can get away from the digital as well and get more analog and then create something from that felt right.
Wow. So I wanted to ask you about what the hardest point of the business was.
The hardest part of this whole business.
Was there a point where you almost quit?
When they tried to, this is actually perfect for Exemplar, like when I found out how much taxes I owed, And I was like, how much, what am I doing this for? And all the little details that I didn't get when I started, and I saw profits and I saw this stuff, and then I see like taxes, I see this, I saw expenses, and I'm like, wait a second, how can I do this in a manner that makes sense? It was a tough time to understand, like, wait, is it about the money or is it about loving it? And if I love it, so yeah, definitely it was understanding what would be the best way to do this right. Because I was not feeling accomplished at being a businessman, that's for sure.
So you were being an artist, and then then you realized you got to savvy up on the business side, basically, right?
Big time.
Exactly.
Big time. Yeah.
But there's no better way to do that with a big slap in the face from the tax man, right?
Seriously. Yeah, I'll get a better tax man. I don't care.
Exactly.
Figure it out. Yeah.
That's right. We're here to help.
Yeah, let's do this.
Yeah. Well, that's great. First, thanks for sharing your story. Yeah. It's really great to get to know you better. We're going to do more of this with the Get Real part of this segment. So, real quick, what do you think about Exemplar?
Well, what I know about it, it's like an all-in-one place, a shop, or of consultants, of people you can go to that have all of this expertise. So if I knew about you guys earlier, it would have been cake, I hope. I mean, I would love to know more and to get clearer what you do. But it sounds needed, especially for people like me who don't have the savvy, don't have that experience building a company. Yeah. And even if it's just to consult, even if it's just to like, what are my options? That would be so helpful if I knew that from the beginning.
Yeah, knowledge is everything. So, but you don't have to know everything. You just have to know people who do.
Yeah, where were you?
Yeah, that's right. Well, fortunately, it's just the right time. You've decided to scale this thing. Yeah. You've made the decision, and now it's this is the inflection point a lot of businesses consider getting the right professionals behind them. So it's perfect timing. But let's get real.
Let's do it.
Thanks for normally I'd be drinking, but you don't drink. So how did that come about? Let's start there, because we're not going to toast with water, but I'm going to drink some.
Let's go. Straight up, I don't have...
I know you drank Shabbat wine.
Shabbat wine, yeah, that probably killed all my taste.
Killed it, like I'm done.
I have other modes of enjoying life, I think, that wine is nice. Liquor is quicker. No, I don't know.
You don't do you don't do liquor at all, are you?
It's not like I'm strict anything.
Okay.
It's more like I don't choose it.
Yeah.
I don't choose to pick up a drink for a good time.
There you go.
But if people are doing it, I'm traveling the world and it's like, have a shot, let's go. You'll have a shot.
Oh, okay, got it.
I'm not I'm not.
Got it. That's right.
Flowitarian.
Fair. I love that. Flowitarian.
Here we go.
Okay, well, let's get real. First of all, there's nothing more real than the fact that you're about to have a baby, aren't you?
Ooh, yeah.
I can see the baby bump. And
I'm getting more pregnant than she is, actually.
Yeah, it's great.
I've been eating with her. Yeah.
So tell us about the lady. You're a lucky man.
So Teresa.
Yeah.
So, no joke, as an artist, I've been drawing this woman my whole life.
Wow, that's beautiful.
I've been illustrating this beautiful Latina, and with every relationship I've had, I knew there was something kind of missing that this woman has. And we met on a dance floor.
No kidding.
Yeah, and we danced, and we have a COVID baby. We have a COVID bump.
Yes.
It's just that time and space we got to have. And when I think it was in Correas where we found out we were pregnant. We had a baby there, and now we're 12 weeks in.
So is Israeli and Italian and Latina? No,
Latina,
it's not Italian. Latina.
Yeah.
Shared spices, we
actually love all the same foods.
No, but I actually mean a spicy personality.
Oh yeah. She's so much spicier than me, and she likes tequila and all these things. So she's got to take a break from that for a bit. But she's magic. She's magic.
Wow. So you say you've been drawing her. You literally, how did you know?
It's just this look, this feeling. She has all of these personalities and traits and talents that I always dreamed about having as a partner and actually having a kid with. I wanted little brown babies. Little brown babies, so they wouldn't get sunburnt, and they had some vibe, and it just works, And I didn't think it was possible. Straight, honestly, I'm 42. She's 22 years. She's 20 years younger than me.
You're an Xer like me, a small generation.
Yeah,
Gen X.
How old are you?
44.
44.
Yeah, just turned.
You have 2 kids.
I have 2 daughters, daddy's girls. Wow. I'm in love.
Yeah.
Well, a year and a half and 4 years old, and
Wow.
it's so special. You're gonna love it.
We're gonna find out.
You
I
want
think
so you're
tomorrow.
gonna need advice. You just call me
You
up.
sure?
You
Okay.
text me. You're like, dude, it's like 2 a.m. I don't know how to deal with this, and I'm like, yeah, I've dealt with that many times.
Yeah, we might have a girl. We don't know yet.
Okay, yeah,
We
that's
find out
great.
tomorrow.
So when did you meet her?
A year and more than that, like almost 2 years ago.
Okay, that's great. Congratulations.
I literally
I'm
swooped
excited.
her up right before COVID happened. I said, "You're gonna live with me, pretty much," and she moved in to my kibbutz.
Yeah,
And,
yeah. Usually Latina's a little more resistant than that. She was like, no problem.
Let's go.
Let's
Yeah.
go.
And yeah, long story there, but yeah,
That's right.
she moved into where I was living, which is basically a community, and my past lover was there too. That I was with for 3 years, so we all were living together.
No way.
Yeah, and it was tough, man.
Anyway,
it was
that's like
super
a
tough.
Branch Davidian compound.
It kind
or
of felt like it
something.
was like
it's crazy.
But we're all friends, thank goodness. We're friends. We're doing well, and yeah, there's a lot of support. There's a lot of support right now,
Wow,
so I'm happy.
that's exciting.
Yeah,
Well, congrats in advance.
thank you.
But what do you make of everything that's going on in the world? Like, what's real for you?
That's a good question. What's real for me is my present state of being and people around me, and how I wake up, how I go to sleep, how I feel. So thankfully I do have a beautiful piece of land that I get to rent and fill it with magical people and dogs and snakes and a wolf and chickens, and there's all this crazy stuff going on there, but it sounds hilarious. But it's legitimately, it's
all
fun.
happening at the
It's
zoo,
all
you know?
happening at the mother tree. And so I get to be in this place. So to me, that's what's real. Knowing that there's so much more going on. It's like, I know I created a bubble around me. And obviously I watch the news and I see what's going on. And in a way I'm part of it. And I saw the rallies and I was part of this and that and the voting. And so I try not to get caught up. I have a business to put my time into.
Yeah.
Now that I have a baby coming, is a lot of planning and getting ready and building. So I really want to just, have a space that feels like peace and calm and home, and not get swept away.
They call that nesting.
Yeah, I guess I've been nesting for a while, but yeah, I feel it works for me. And
So is this new stage that you're in? It seems like it's all happened really fast. A couple of years.
I mean, listen,
Because when I met you a few years ago, she wasn't in your life.
no.
And so all of a sudden you're here, now you're going to have a baby. Is this changing your perspective on business or how seriously you take your business?
Big time. Big time. It actually gives me a new hustle. I was actually kind of floating. I'm like, all right, this works, that works. Before I found out, I'm not joking you, the day before I found out I was pregnant, we were pregnant, I said to my uncle at the time, like, you know what, I don't need to hustle. I feel good just like where I'm at, because if I hustle, I get stressed out, and it's not. And the next
And
day,
God heard you.
and she's like, oh, well, actually.
Like,
So now I
like,
get to
oh,
listen to that and say, wait,
deliver some hustle to that guy.
So it does make me realize what I can do, what I can't do, what I need to prepare for. And yeah, I'll be calling you. I don't have half the idea.
Fair, yeah.
But as in the business, sure, that's of course going to support. And I think there's more coming too that I need to, tune into, because time is the biggest part of it. What I've heard is you don't have as much time, free time. So I want to be able to have that time. Mm-hmm. So who can I pay to do things, or who can I train to do things that I've been doing right now?
Yeah, you get really, really present with not doing what you can do anymore, and instead doing only that which only you can do.
Right.
It's a big important distinction there.
Yeah, and that's something that might be a challenge for me, because I think I can do it all.
No, but that's doing everything you can do.
Okay.
Because you can do it.
Right.
And you believe most people can't do it. But there's a difference between doing that which only you can do.
Mm-hmm. That would be, I need to cut some fat then off of all the things I've been doing. Mm-hmm. And there's this trust that I have that it's going to work out.
Yeah.
Where
does that come from?
I mean, the trust?
Yeah. You say it so casually, but it's not like people are walking around with a bunch of...
Experience.
Okay, it's just experience?
Experience. Things work out, especially when you think they're not. And then taking those hardships and say, there's a lesson here. I'm getting kicked out of the house, or this is happening, that's happening. Like, why? Don't question, just do what you got to do, and then you'll know later.
Okay. So what age did you get this maturity and wisdom, right? I mean, like, when did you get enough experience to just have that faith?
I know it sounds corny, but I look at nature and know that it works out. There are seasons to everything. So I think that for myself too. There's going to be highs and lows. There's going to be hot and cold. Same with life. So when things happen, oh man, why? If I get stressed about that all the time and carry that with me, then my momentary moments are going to be stressed. So how can I just say, this is what's happening, deal with it, next thing, and then know it's going to be fine. I can't tell you why. I just feel it. I say, it's going to be fine. I tell her, she doesn't believe me. She's like, how the hell is it going to flow? We're going to have to pay rent. I'm like, it'll work. It'll come to, and it has. It really has. With a kid, I have no idea if that's the same thing or it's even better. I've heard that you make more money and more abundance happens when you have kids.
More hustle.
I guess that's what happens, right?
Right?
More hustle, more determination, more focus. Because as an artist, I was always, I guess, chaotic about everything. Not chaotic, but I could do so many things.
Yeah.
I had to figure out what I was going to do. This business actually brought me to something and to stick to. I was an artist, designer, and now I'm like, oh, I can put all that into one place. And honestly, I feel like I haven't scratched the surface yet. I really feel like
in terms of what this business could be.
Oh yeah,
Right.
and
no
in
doubt.
terms of
I'm sure
what I
that's
can
true.
give it, because I've done this for so many people. I've branded, I've designed, I've photo shoot so many other people, and for my own business, I've kind of done a little bit. But knowing what I could do is, whoa, should I go there? Should I show them? You know?
Yeah.
And that's where the artist in me wants to really just go for it. Yeah. And so I'm excited about that possibility, and also supporting my love, Teresa, into her business too. She's starting a face and oil business, and I just bought all of the gear she needs and has her own apothecary.
Oh wow,
so, and
that's
she
great.
just got an order for 500 for Christmas. I'm like, what? More than I've ever gotten. Like she's gotten this one big order that I'm going to help her make, and it's really fun to help other people in their businesses too.
Yeah, there's no doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Especially when it's going to help pay rent.
Well, it'll pay, you got your kid. Yeah, you're the little one now.
Yeah.
How does your Judaism or faith, shape your perspective in life, or your value system, maybe?
Yeah. So, when you say Judaism, there's a lot of culture.
There's no doubt. I mean, I might have planted that word to create for you to create a
religion
distinction.
is one thing. The stories, the things you learn as a kid, that's there. But there's something deeper about my knowing that my culture, my tribe, has been through something together for many, many, many centuries, and coming from even the story, like the deep story of my grandmother's a Holocaust survivor and went through it, and because of her survival, I'm here. Yeah. It's a little bit of guilt, but it's also like, well, what are you doing with this? And not marrying Jewish and going that route and having a rabbi mother is definitely part of this new story, and it's perfect because I get to choose this life, and why not choose it exactly the way I want? And it's like I said, I didn't think this was possible 2-3 years ago, that I could have like the woman that inspires me that I've wanted, and then with as far as Judaism goes, especially bringing a new child, how do you raise a child?
Yeah, no doubt.
What cultures do you bridge
absolutely going to be.
And that could go on. But
have you had that conversation?
Yeah, we just actually had one yesterday, and the idea, if it's a boy, what do we do about circumcision, or if it's Thankfully, my parents are open enough to say, we love you, we trust you, do what works for you, and we haven't been through it yet. We don't know what it's going to be like at Hanukkah or whatever. And she's young enough, Teresa's young enough to flow with it. She's so studious, she loves to learn, so why not treat it as education? Like,
so let me ask you this, because I grew up Jewish, so I get it. Mm-hmm. But it's why is it a conversation, right? You married a Latina.
Yeah.
Right, you got
I didn't marry her yet.
Okay, but that's
maybe by the time this airs,
it's all good when the time is right. When the time is right, but so you got a Latina. Nobody talks about like raising their kid Latina,
okay?
Right.
Yeah.
So we're making a distinction here because it's an interesting discussion about whether or not you are really passing on a culture or you're passing on a faith. Like in others, people talk about passing on a faith,
right?
But people rarely have the discussion about passing on a culture because it's just ingrained in you anyways. Yeah. It's something you're destined to do, because you express culture.
There is one thing that I do want to bring from the religion.
Yeah.
Is Shabbat.
Yeah, Shabbat.
Shabbat to me brings it all together, and it is for family. It's a time to let go, turn off the lights, or whatever we do,
Yeah,
whatever.
The day of rest too.
Day of rest.
Not just
if we can't, like, we live in the day of rest kind of in this property, but really hone in and say, let's not be on phones, or and it'll happen more, I think, when kids come to give that routine.
Yes.
And I'm really excited for that to happen.
Interesting.
There's always a dream of mine to have Shabbat.
So and the kids need structure. They want structure.
Yeah.
They need structure. So that you're going to find is going to be.
That they'll keep telling me I need structure. So maybe this will help me.
It'll be good for you, because newsflash, if you don't remind yourself, she will remind you that kids need structure.
Right.
And that'll probably help you be better too. But it's good for the Shabbat plan.
Yeah.
So what is it? Is it something about Shabbat that's special? Is it the weekly family time?
Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
One, I just remember as a kid, we had Shabbat every Friday, and we had other people come who were just like stragglers, family stragglers.
That's the nature of Shabbat, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is you always got the stragglers, right?
Right.
No one's part of the story of Shabbat. It's like
Okay.
there's always just the people. Like people get invited to dinner.
Yeah, and part of me doesn't want to be a straggler anymore.
No, I get
jumping
that,
at other Shabbats. So in a way, hosting and having a meal, and to me, the singing part, the music, the harmonies that we got to do. My family sang a lot, so it was.
Did you say harmony and Shabbat?
Oh, 4-part harmony.
Harmony?
4-part harmony.
What is it, like barbershop?
Literally, I could show you videos. I got a kibbutz dad, a rabbi mom. Something's gonna happen.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
Well, because the chords of the scales are completely different. I don't know how they do that.
I'll show you. You'll see.
That's awesome.
So to me, that's the culture part. Like, that's what I love. Is the foods are cool and everything, but it's the music that comes together, and even in the prayer. Like, if you don't know what you're saying, but if you can, just like when I was a kid, looking at my father, like, bless the family, and everyone kind of had a place. Everyone wore white, and the place just looked clean and nice, and it's just this sense of, I'm home. I have a family. It feels good. So I want to give that to my family. Yeah.
It's amazing how you grew up and like how you reflect on that, and hopefully that's an inspiration, to others who are trying to, like, they don't realize in the moment when you're busy and crazy and going through life how important those memories are.
Right.
And then here you are, recalling how special that was, and those little things. Sometimes there's a scent that makes you feel like you're home. Sometimes it's that memory. It's just Shabbat dinner. It's the singing. It's everything that it meant. Finding the matzah,
right?
The hidden matzah at Passover.
But as a kid, I rebelled. I didn't think about it really then, but looking back on it, how much of a treasure that was.
Of course.
They
made you starve to death through all the prayers before you got to the real food.
I did those too.
That's great.
Do you do Shabbat as well here?
Not here, no. Although, we haven't really started that from family. My wife's Chinese, so again, a multicultural family, which is great. And she loves the Jewish culture. I think there's a shared value system there, which I was wondering about whether you think that's true with your.
Because she's Latina.
Yeah, well, they're family oriented.
Very much. Thank goodness. Her mom is like all about it. She's like, "You're having a baby. I'm so happy. I'll be there for the birth." I'm like, "Okay," but thankfully, I wanted that. I wanted a woman whose mother was a part of it, and who could, not be too overbearing, but be able to just, be a grandma, be there. I wanted family around.
So when you say you live in a bubble, have you created? I mean, is it about creating the life you want? Is that what it is? About surrounding yourself, putting yourself in the right environment? You're talking about, people buy tickets to the zoo to experience so much nature, and you've created an environment and live in an environment where you get the peace you want. Is that something that you believe you've crafted or created for yourself?
Like I said, it worked out. It happened when it needed to happen, but I dreamt about this. Like I drew my girlfriend. Like, I dreamt about this situation since I was 12, 13. I kept thinking about, it'd be so cool to live like this, a little like that. Like, it's not possible. It's not possible. In LA, to have a jungle, basically, and it happened.
Sure.
But
okay, but you were describing, now I really want to get to the bottom of how much you're saying that you create, and how much you're saying is created for you because it's premonition, it's just fate, it's destiny. Have you ever thought about that?
Of course. I think if you feel into something, you look at it and you visualize it enough, like, it happens, but you get to decide, like, that's the right path.
So it's a manifestation. It's a
yeah,
combination of
it's
choices.
and working hard to make sure you keep those choices alive, because I can sit on my ass now and I wouldn't be able to keep this place, you know. So
Yeah.
how do I
So it's hundreds of small choices.
constantly, and
Yeah,
then sometimes
right.
sitting on your ass enjoying it is part of that choice too. It's like by not hustling, saying, wait a
Sure.
second, enjoy what you have.
Well, because if you don't, why are you working so hard, right? Yeah. You know,
And I saw that a lot. I do work with children. Most of my life I was like kind of like a mentor to young boys.
So how did that happen?
How did that happen? I guess it was natural. It was natural. Like I was doing this thing called ECOP, Equal Opportunity Productions at UCLA. It was right after college, and it was this group that took inner city kids, found the all-stars of those programs, and then brought them to UCLA and did all of the arts and we traveled, did all these things for them, and I was just like, it was what I was meant to do. I was teaching capoeira, drumming, all the stuff that, you know, you can't really get a job doing, or you could, but it was just the fun stuff for me, and it helped me to build these relationships. And then for some reason, I found myself in a community of very wealthy people, but most of them were either single mothers with kids they were trying to raise on their own, or dads who were just out of the picture. And they were working really, really hard, and they weren't with their kids. And I just felt like let's work, let's create, let's play. And I did a lot of festivals too, and I worked with the kids side of it. Instead of going to like the festival grounds to work with I'm talking about, you know, the transformational festivals, like Beyond Burning Man, like there's a bunch of them.
There's a bunch of them.
And I said, you know, working with this guy John Nash, we went to the children's areas and started building new festivals in the children's area, and I saw how powerful that was, how important real connection and real time with these kids are. It changed the way I look at, you know, humans. Like, we're all those kids. Why can't we just treat each other like that? And I gave more time to the kids than I did to the other adults most of the time. But yeah, and I think that's where I'm at now, is like I'm building this bubble to support family, my own family too, but you know, I have a camp that happens once a week, and we bring kids in, mostly boys, and we basically do the things we want to do as kids. And there's not really rules besides, you know, respect and don't kill yourself. You know, and we're burning stuff. We're chopping things. We take the trail up the hill. We're like, they're doing all the things they would do in Minecraft, but in real life. You know, and so I want to get them out of that out of that digital world and go analog with them and be it. So that's been real fun for me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you hope to keep that up?
I don't know how I would stop, to be honest, because it actually gets me out. It gets me back to my land, to my nature. And that was one thing, the reasons why I love working with kids, is the wonder stays alive. Yeah. They question everything. They don't care what they say. They're just doing what they do. And either I'm trying to force it to be in control, or just witness it and say, oh yeah, I didn't think about it that way. Let's figure it out. Go for it. Let's see what happens. You know, and there's of course safety issues, but it's like, I'm there. And also, I'd like to see what will happen. I want to work with them. And if they get a cut, I'm like, oh, warrior cut. What are we going to do with that? You got your first, you know, these are like kids who are on Zoom all day in school right now with COVID. They always gaming. And their dads are away, and they have no sense of like fatherly like connection. And I just, you know, so it just happened perfectly that it worked out. So yeah, I have these kids that come through, and we just create, there's something you like. I started something called Monkey Business with a kid who wants to create his own business. So we created Monkey Business. He made his own surf wax business. So we made it all, made his own surf wax, and we built it at the apothecary. We created it all together, packaged it, made a website for him, taught him all these things, and could see doing that more for other kids to build their businesses, but make products, create together, and learn the tools.
Wow. Yeah,
so that's been fun for me because I love doing that.
Yeah. How does the lady feel about the time you're spending with the kids? Does she like it?
Oh yeah, she loves it.
She loves it.
And I know it's just gonna, I always dreamt about having, like, those kids that I've been training or creating with, one day they'll be, you know, supporting my kid, hopefully. You know, and I can't, you know, we'll see. But also the tribe, or the people, the friends that I have, I always tell them, like, I choose my friends based on if I would raise my family with them, if they would raise my kids, or I would raise their kids. So far so good. We have a good team. A couple witches on the property. We got, you know, things going on. So it feels good.
It's almost Noah's Ark, I think.
Kind of feels like it sometimes.
That's great.
Yeah, and then there's challenges
Yeah.
with community. There's challenges with communication always.
Oh, yeah.
I've heard the biggest issue with community is ego. So working with always listening, always communicating, hearing how I could be of service, even though I hold the space and the lease. Like, how can I be of service to everyone there so they feel heard, listened to, and that we can grow together? Because if that doesn't work, then there's resentment, and none of that works.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
What a great, just just a great learning, right? To be in that environment. And it must be tiring. There's a whole other, like I said, there's pros and cons.
Yeah, my back went out like the last week. I'm like, wait a second.
Yeah.
I gotta get ready. My back's been going out. I'm like, okay, time to work on myself.
Your back's going out?
Back going out, like,
You're
tweaks,
like you're turning
muscle
40
tweaks.
and stuff. Yeah, it's like it's a whole new world.
Yeah.
Anyway,
That's a whole other topic. But
I love it. Well, it's been it's really been great learning more about you and your story.
I appreciate it. I don't talk much about all this.
No,
stuff.
I know there's so much more to it than all of this. Do you have any last words to people sort of staying true to themselves? What's been your key? You seem to have done a decent job.
Yeah, it's if you can look yourself in the mirror and see the spark and see like the spirit in you and just like love that up and know that there's a kid in you that's just like, you're cool, right? And like love that kid. Like that's all I would ever want is to look back at that kid and say you're doing great. I love you. You're special. You're perfect. Enjoy this time. It's not a hustle mentality. It's none of that to me. It's really enjoying your moment and surround yourself with the people you love. Yeah.
I love it. Well, I've done a good job. You're here.
I appreciate this. Thank you.
Thank you, my man.
Yeah. What about getting a mark after all this? Would
Are you going to give me a mark? Give me a mark.
Let me hook you up,
Let's
bro.
do it.
Let's do your Hebrew name. Your original Hebrew name was Avraham. But
Yes.
I like Avi.
Yeah, Avi. I like Avi. I went by Avi. Yeah.
So I just sometimes do a little adjustments. Oh, you got one right there.
You cracked me up, buddy.
Yeah.
It's good, literally.
Yeah. Let's see. How's that? Let's get you. You know your alphabet?
No.
So your Aleph, the first letter of the alphabet.
Oh, Aleph, yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And what's your last name?
Marston.
Perfect.
Unless you want the Hebrew last name.
Oh, give me everything.
Shem Tov.
Okay. Aleph, Mem, Shin. If we had time, I'd go through every single one. Man,
There's a meaning behind it, of course.
It's always a meaning. So like that, what I was saying when I reinvested, like actually having new, clean, beautiful looking things that anyone can use. So you don't need to be so skilled at the calligraphy, and you can just get into it right away. So.
Yeah. Yeah, you didn't have these last time.
No, they're brand new. It's interesting because what you guys do at Exemplar, I don't know how you work with new businesses, or is it a whole process of learning what the company is and getting
Yeah, we do a deep dive. You have to know. The relationship is the most critical, right? The biggest thing you can screw up is assuming that every business journey is supposed to be the same.
What's the end goal for you as someone who has a client like me? Like, what do you want to gain?
Oh, it's all about, look, we're a quad bottom line firm, so if we're working with people that
bottom line.
For spiritual, social, environmental, and financial bottom line. So working with businesses that are living their purpose and doing good in the world.
Yeah.
There's no better reason to wake up every day than to tend to serve those businesses, because everything we do moves the needle for them.
How do you see someone like an artist, like when you work with upstarts to people who are...
Everybody's an artist. The MIT genius who invented cold fusion in atmosphere, stable plasma molecular, he's an artist.
100%.
They're just genius, they're artists in a whole different way. So I just see the definition of artist differently.
I guess when I say artist, I guess I assume I'm saying is a chaotic nature that needs someone to hand-hold them through certain processes.
Everybody has gaps.
Yeah.
And if they're good at what we do, then they're probably not really good at what they should be good at to run a business, right? Meaning business is successful because they have brilliance and genius that they can do something that only they can do, and then they find a way to scale it. And it's not always that, but it's often that. It could be finding in a new stem cell and use for the new stem cell. It could be just wild stuff, or it could be fintech in blockchain technologies, or cannabinoids or terpenes, and you don't know. But the people behind them are living their passion. They've got a new twist on a thing, and you've got to find a way to surround them the right support, resources, to love on them holistically, because they need lawyers, they need bankers, they need debt, they need equity, they need consultants in different areas that make up for what they lack. They need part-time executives in certain areas. They need advisories. They need connections. They need customers.
Counsel.
Everything.
Yeah.
And the relationship is the most fundamental. Without that, if you don't care, you're not going to change their outcomes. There's lots of ways to build people and still not give a shit. But fundamentally, you got to have a relationship. You got to give a shit.
Is it in a way, because I watch a lot of Shark Tank. Is
do
it
you? Yeah.
Just watching.
That's so different. It's become good.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. There needs to be that, eco Shark Tank, or this conscious Shark Tank, where like you guys can come around and really see the projects at work and be in just that supportive.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, the Shark Tank, the entrepreneurs in the tank, and they're the sharks.
Yeah.
And so in other ways, that our firm is the support ecosystem around the business that prevents them from getting eaten alive, which happens if you put an entrepreneur in a Shark Tank. It's destiny, right? So, all of that's made for TV, and then there's what's real. It's kind of like Judge Judy isn't what really happens in a courtroom.
Are there businesses that don't work for you, that don't work with?
Yeah, we have negative screens. If they really only have a single bottom line, they really don't care about anything other than money. If they really, at their core, don't have a purpose that's deeper than just financial gain, that's not all that interesting.
Wow.
There's lots of places they could go if they just care about that. Now, the other thing is we're a relationship-first firm, because being able to contextualize the business's growth needs, where it's headed, and take it to being a public company, an exit event, mergers, acquisitions, whatever needs to happen. You have to be able to contextualize and help them assemble all the different pieces, and then help them prioritize and triage. Because you don't have 10 different budgets. You need 10 different people maybe, or 15 or 5, but you don't have 5 budgets or 15 budgets. You have one. And no firm is doing you a service if to a hammer everything looks like a nail, and they're just trying to sell their time in one little silo, and they can't contextualize your needs. So that's a big difference.
I'm excited to either jump in with you and see how it goes, or even just this helped me a lot to vocalize some of the reasons why I'm doing what I do.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you did it. Thanks for sharing your passion, your art and talent. And look, we'll do it again. We'll delve deep, hopefully help you grow.
I love that.
And everybody, this is Amir Magal of Tribal Markers, CEO. I'm Christopher Marston. This is CEOs Get Real. Thanks for joining us.
Aleph, 1, unity, connection. Mem, water, nurturing mother. Shin, passion, fire, catalyst.
Wow, check that out.
Each one, and you can bring them together.
You broke it down.